Hello and welcome to Baiju's Exam Prep IAS. Before we begin today's daily quiz, just a gentle reminder. Today marks the beginning of the Target Prelims 2022 crash course that is free of cost for all the UPSC aspirants out there. All that you need to do is to download the Baiju's Exam Prep app and register to avail this free crash course of 50 days that starts today and ends on 24th of May. This 50-day crash course will cover the entire syllabus of the UPSC prelims examination, and the students will also be given a daily revision plan. That is a list of topics that you have to study and revise daily. On the basis of those topics, every day you will have a quiz, and the next day there will be a live discussion of that test by the Baiju's IAS faculties where you can ask your questions as well. As I said, the program is free of cost and exclusively on the Baiju's Exam Prep app. It starts today, so don't wait up. Download the Baiju's Exam Prep app right away. Now let's move on to today's daily quiz with question number 1 on your screen. Consider the following statements with regards to IPCC, or the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Number 1. It was set up in 1988 by the World Meteorological Organization and the UNEP to provide the policymakers with regular assessments of scientific basis of climate change, its impact, and options for adaptation and mitigation. Second, the IPCC assessments provide a scientific basis for governments at all levels to develop climate-related policies, and they underlie negotiation at the UN Climate Conference, that is, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And third, the IPCC was awarded the 2007 Nobel Prize in Physiology for contributions to the human understanding of climate change. Which of these given statements is or are correct? Out of the 3 given statements, the correct answer is A. First and second are correct. The third statement is wrong. The part that they were given the Nobel Prize in 2007 is correct. The wrong information here is that they were actually given the Nobel Peace Prize in 2007, which they shared collectively with Al Gore. Al Gore, as you would know, is a former vice president of the US. He was a vice president when the US president was Bill Clinton. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the newspaper headlines today are filled with the IPCC report, where the biggest message is that if we don't check our emissions fast and do nothing, then the 2 degrees Celsius climate target that we have set for ourselves will not be achieved, and the average temperature of the earth will increase considerably. The time to take action is right away. One of the authors of the report said that the time to take action is right now. What we do in the next decade will decide our future for the entire planet. Most of the projections around the world show that even if the nations around the world make best of the efforts, a temperature rise would be over the 1.5 degree or even 2 degrees Celsius target that the nations have set for themselves. Next, question number 2. Consider the following statements with regards to Satluj River. Number 1. It is the easternmost tributary of Indus River. Second, the river enters India through the Shipkila Pass. And third, the Bhakra Dam is built on the Satluj River. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is D. All the 3 given statements are correct. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the Haryana Assembly is likely to pass a resolution once again on the Satluj-Yamuna Link Canal. Now, as you would know, in 1966, when Haryana came into being, they started demanding that they should also get water from some of the Punjab rivers. And thus, there was a proposal that a canal will be built to connect the Satluj River to the Yamuna River so that excess water can go to Haryana. However, despite over 50 years being passed, that canal has not been built completely because of objections from Punjab also, since Punjab says that they themselves don't have enough water for their agricultural and other needs. Now, because a couple of days back the Punjab Assembly passed a resolution saying that Chandigarh should be transferred to them unilaterally and Chandigarh's entire control should be with Punjab, this is now seen as a reaction. Haryana now is set to take up this issue once again and also demand that the Hindi-speaking areas in the state of Punjab should be transferred to Haryana. So this very old issue has come up for discussion once again. Next, question number 3. The phrase March Madness is associated with which of the following sports? Is it basketball, baseball, football, or cricket's IPL season? The correct answer here is A. Basketball. March Madness is a very famous phenomenon, especially in the US, where in the month of March we have the college basketball championship that is being played and is watched by millions of people across the world, especially in the US. This championship is seen as a gateway for the players to enter the big league that is the NBA, and they are picked up by the famous NBA teams at very fat pay packages after this particular tournament. This is officially called the NCAA, that is a National Collegiate Athletic Associations Divisions men and women's college basketball tournaments. This is called as a March Madness and is covered widely by media across the world. The tournament started in 1939 and has been held every single year except 2020 because of the COVID pandemic. Next, question number 4. Consider the following statements with regards to the Jagannath temple. Number 1. The temple is believed to be constructed in the 12th century by King Anantvarman Chodaganga Deva of the Eastern Ganga dynasty. Second, this temple was called the Black Pagoda and is a part of the Char Dham pilgrimages, which include Badrinath, Dwarka, Puri, and Rameshwaram. Third, in front of the entrance stands the Arun Stambh or the Sun Pillar, which was originally at the Sun Temple in Konark. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is C. 1 and 3 are correct. The second statement is wrong because the temple is famously known as a white pagoda and not the black pagoda. That is because when the sun shines over the temple, it looks as if a white colored monument. All the other given statements are true. It is a part of the Char Dham pilgrimage that is undertaken by lakhs of devoted Hindus every single year. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the Archaeological Survey of India has asked the Odisha government to make certain changes to their beautification plan around the Jagannath temple. As you know, the government of Odisha has been undertaking beautification work around a lot of its monuments, including the Sun Temple at Konark, which has been revamped considerably in the past couple of years. The people who are opposed to the plan are saying that the Odisha government does not have the permission from the National Monuments Authority and it does not have the approval from the Archaeological Survey of India to execute such a project, and it would pose a threat to the centuries-old temple. The article also says that as per the National Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 1958, no new construction can take place within a radius of 100 meters of a monument which is treated as a prohibited zone. This area up to 200 meters is known as a regulated zone, and the National Monuments Authority's permission is compulsory for any such construction. Next, we have a previous year question from 2020. With reference to the cultural history of India, which one of the following is the correct description of the term paramitas? First, the earliest Dharmashastra text written in the aphoristic style. Second, philosophical schools that did not accept the authority of the Vedas. Third, perfections whose attainments led to the Bodhisattva path. And fourth, powerful merchant guilds of early medieval South India. The correct answer here is C. The term paramitas is given to the perfections whose attainment led to the Bodhisattva path. So it is related to Buddhism. As you know, every single year you can expect 1 or even 2 questions from Buddhism in the UPSC prelims examinations. So do make sure that you read everything about Buddhism and Jainism in detail, as much information as you can find in your books. The paramitas actually are the qualities that a bodhisattva strives to perfect so that it can purify his karma and the bodhisattva can develop the highest possible degree of attainment. Next, we have a fact of the day, and today we will be discussing a very interesting topic, that is, how exactly are the union ministers given and made to vacate their bungalows in New Delhi. The reason why this is in the news is that the government of India has given a directive to the Directorate of Estates, which works under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, to vacate a bungalow which was earlier allotted to Ramvilas Paswan. Because he has passed away, his family, including his son, who is a member of parliament, Chirag Paswan, and his mother, was living in that bungalow. Because the family was given multiple notices and still they did not vacate the bungalow, the Directorate of Estate had to take this unilateral action, and that is why it has come in the news. Now, it must be noted that the allotment of central government bungalows is done through the General Pooled Residential Accommodation Act. It covers the central government residential accommodations under the administrative control of the DOE and 39 other locations that are outside of Delhi. As per the rules of the DOE, there are type 8 bungalows which have 7 rooms with quarters for domestic help. These kind of bungalows are allotted to serving ministers only and sometimes to some other Rajya Sabha members of parliament after the House panel allows them. Now, this is not the first time when former ministers have refused to vacate the bungalow on their own. This is a very common occurrence. So, there are rules regarding it. The eviction of the occupants is governed by Public Premises Eviction of Unauthorized Occupants Act. If the person does not vacate the bungalow within the set time period, then there would be penal consequences such as charging for the damages and for the eviction proceedings as well. Usually, the occupants are given a 30-day time period of eviction. After that, they are given a show cause notice. Over the years, there have been multiple incidents of such evictions. For example, in 2020, Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra was given a notice to vacate the official accommodation given to her in the Lodi estate area. Then the same happened with Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary in 2016. He is a Congress member of parliament who was evicted from his bungalow at the new Moti Bagh area. There have even been examples of people who are in power right now being sent these notices. For example, former Union Ministers Mr. Prakash Jadvekar and Mr. Harshvardhan, who is a former Health Minister, they were also given notices to vacate their Type 8 bungalows since they were no longer cabinet ministers for the Government of India. This is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.